Welcome everybody to another video on this channel, and I'm sure you guys all know that feeling when you're on your last lap or you have someone in your mirror right behind you. Yes guys, that's called pressure, and the result is you can get really nervous because of it and make silly mistakes, stupid mistakes, and most importantly mistakes which are not necessary. And yes, it's really tough to stay calm in those moments, but at the same time it's probably one of the most important things you need to master if you want to become a better sim racer and get higher up the ranks. And let's be honest, the pressure is just going to get higher the higher ranks you're gonna race in. You will have trains for several laps. If you will make one mistake, you will get overtaken. If you make a big mistake, several cars will overtake you. And it for sure was, for me at least, one of the hardest challenges to get my nerves under control and face these emotions towards my way to an A+ and top split ranked driver in GT7. So that's why I thought it's a good idea to make a video about it, how I got my nerves under control and what you can actually do about it to get a little bit more calm and get the results you deserve in the daily races. And in the following video, the tips will actually increase in importance towards the end. But I think the first tip is maybe one of the most important one because it really sets the stage, I think, for everything which is upcoming. So I think the very first one is as well a really crucial one. And the first thing you can do, I call it reframing, is to somehow reframe the pressure. And what I tell myself when I feel the pressure is, and not just in sports, but mainly in sport, is that pressure is a privilege, because it actually means you are involved. You actually care what you're doing here right now. And that is actually a really positive thing. So let's say you do something you don't care about and it's not worth anything. Of course, you won't feel any pressure. So everything which has a meaning or is special to you will create some pressure. So it's actually a great sign and something really positive you can take away when you feel pressure, because you know you're doing actually something worthwhile, what you actually care about. And that's a really positive emotion, and it's a completely reframing these maybe this feeling you don't like the nerves, and we all don't like them, but you can definitely reframe them and make them and turn them into something positive. And that's definitely something you should consider if you want to increase your sim racing skills. All right. Now we will get a little bit more hands-on into the actual racing with tip number 2, and this is don't drive in your mirrors. Maybe you have heard about it already, maybe you haven't. It is really important, of course, to have your mirrors inside, to look towards the back, what your opponents are doing. But this can really distract you from what's actually the most important, is that you bring your performance on the road, and the road is, of course, ahead of you. So you need to look ahead. You need to force yourself not to think about the driver in your mirrors behind you too much. Don't look at the deltas too much. You really need to focus towards the race, towards the front of the track, and make sure you hit your lines, you hit your braking points, you don't make any silly mistakes. And if you're just in your mirrors, you are gonna make mistakes. And so definitely use your mirrors wisely, but definitely make sure you don't use them too much and you lose focus of what's actually the most important, the racetrack. Tip number 3, I think, is still really hands-on, and I call it observe yourself, which actually means observe yourself. When do you get nervous and when do you feel the pressure? And once you feel it, you need to observe yourself, take a step back and tell yourself the things you just learned maybe today or other things you learned already. So it's really important, once you feel these emotions, to step one step back, observe yourself, and try to get focused again, which can as well help. Like, have a little look, where are your nerves the most? When are you the most nervous? Is it the start? Is it when someone is behind you? Is it if the delta just gets smaller and smaller? Just observe yourself, have a look where you actually feel the pressure, when do you get nervous, and then you can definitely way easier take a step back, take a breath, tell yourself, okay, take a breath, let's focus, and let's hit my lines, let's hit the corners, and don't worry too much. So I think that's really important to really be aware at what points of the race you get nervous, and then really take this step back and make sure you try to work on these emotions. All right, we are a little bit more back into psychology here. We are not, it's not as hands-on anymore, but I think it's super crucial, which is the tip number 4, which is expose yourself. What do I mean by that? For most people, this pressure might be uncomfortable, but you really need to make sure you get comfortable with the uncomfortable, basically. So if you shy away from these daily races, if you shy away from these high pressure moments, you won't get used to them and you won't get better doing them. So it's really important to go into these daily races, also expose yourself to these highest pressure moments as much as you can. And I have to admit, this was as well for me a really, really difficult thing when I went through the ranks and I arrived at A+, just to go into this daily race and feel this extremely high pressure. That was extremely difficult, and it still is sometimes, but I can feel how much better I already got. I have maybe 20%, 30% of the nerves I had in the very beginning. And of course, I don't know about you, but I remember still my very, very first race. My feet were shaking. But yeah, it's really, really important to expose yourself to these moments as many times as you can, because otherwise you won't get better at these and you're not going to get comfortable. So get comfortable with the uncomfortable, I think, is really, really, really crucial to master your emotions and these skills. And last but not least, the last tip sounds simple, but practice makes perfect. Make sure you have your lines dialed. Make sure you have your breaking points dialed. Make sure you have your entry and exit gears dialed. Because if you have all these kind of stuff dialed, it can be really, really mechanical what you do on this track. You brake there, you do the turn there, you accelerate out of this corner right there. And when you have this moment, when you need to refocus, then you can just tell yourself, all right, do exact these kind of things you just practice over and over and over again on this lap. And I can assure you, this will give you so much more confidence when you know your line. The most nervous I get is when I'm not really sure, all right, is it now 110 meters or is it now 100 meters where I brake? Then my mind gets really, really loose and I can get really nervous. But when I have my lines dialed, when I know, okay, that's my braking point, that's my turning in point, that's my gears in, my gears out, and if I lock that in, I can get this specific lap time and this guy behind me should not get me. That really, really helps me a lot. So yes, practice as much as you can. I have as well a video, I will link you in the description, and as well maybe you're gonna see it at the end of this video, where I give you 10 tips to practice, to prepare for the daily races, and I'm sure this will increase your confidence a lot, and you will have already a much better cards in these high pressure moments. I hope this video helped some of you guys to make progress on the track and get your desired A+ ranking. If you enjoyed this video, I would much appreciate a like and a subscription on the stream. As you can see, our goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every subscriber really, really helps and really, really motivates me to keep going and make more of these videos. So thank you everyone, and see you on the channel.